So here we go. We see a silver van driving down a perfectly paved road. Four voices of varying age are talking over one another, implying that what we are hearing is the family traveling inside that very car. According to my memory, it's the TV's own Simpson family on one of their many, many misadventures. They are on their way to a vacation spot near San Francisco. The camera zooms out, revealing the road to be part of the Golden Gate Bridge. The discussion in the car devolves into insults and further into multiple mentions of some obscure plan. As the voice's volumes fade lower and lower, I can make out the words of the host in the car radio. Something that sounds a lot like a movie trailer announces Itchy and Scratchy in a crossover episode with Spy vs. Spy. Then the radio host starts a rant with the words, an orchestrated cat and mouse game, and so on. A few cars back, we see a really long limousine with a camouflage paint job. As the camera switches from outside the car to inside the vehicle, we see a couple of 40-something-year-old men in uniform cracking their knuckles, elbows, and necks in perfect unison. They proceed to cup their groins with one hand while swiping on their phone and sipping whiskey from a glass with the other. While the camera pans over the interior of the car and the giant emblem that says "Unspecific Military", we can see the car's innards. They look like the deck of a submarine, including a navigator in front of a screen, tracking the silver van on the radar-like device. We hear nothing except a few phone noises, radar blips, and slurpy whiskey sips. The outside camera takes over again and goes back a few more cars. It centers on an open-top sports car in its frame. Its driver is Sterling Archer, former ISIS agent. Riding shotgun is his mother Mallory, struggling to hold and sip from four differently colored cocktail glasses. Pam and Carol on the back seat are struggling not to laugh and make fun of Mallory's uncomfortable hand positions, but end up comparing her to a well-known clumsy freestyle rapper. As per usual, Mallory tells them to zip it, but continues to give us a quick justification as to why she stocked up on fancy drinks, which is apparently because the next opportunity to have some decent alcohol is still 20 miles away. Her son, the driver, essentially endangers everyone in there by keeping his widened eyes glued on his mother during the entire explanation, capping it off with his signature mix of a quiet exhale and gleeful chuckle. Mallory's gigantic hat gets caught by an airstream and stays behind, along with her exclaimed, "For the love of—" Sterling releases an exact copy of his chuckle before. In something that has no indication of being a flash forward, but still is because my dream expects me to know that, the dream camera shows us a virtual map of the world with a grid and everything, and somehow we're able to scroll through all the countries by swiping left, almost as if the globe was drawn on a tangerine skin that was meticulously peeled in a single, even stripe. The countries are separated by black lines and represented by differently colored shapes. On the map there are some markers that look like stickers, each one resembling the face of one of the aforementioned characters. They're scattered all over the map, suggesting that everyone's gone separate ways, but in this map overview, everyone is still talking to their respective group as if they were still together, in form of a voiceover. Now the flash forward is over, and it transitions into a montage. We're shown several quick snippets featuring the Simpsons traveling different countries on all continents, and behind them, the members of the unspecific military perfectly hiding within objects in the family's vicinity, such as trash cans, coffee machines, and Marge's hair. They instigate some attempts at assassinating each and every one of the Simpsons, but all of these attempts hilariously fail in a manner that even leaves the yellow fellows oblivious to the malicious intent following them. The montage also includes scenes of the Archer party holding firearms in each hand and sneaking through chest-deep swamp water looking absolutely terrified, while trying to get past a couple of sleeping crocodiles. The montage concludes on a busy bazaar street in Cairo. We see a local boy hand Lisa a non-specific linen bag. Now the dream camera changes to Lisa's point of view as she goes back to her family, who is currently taking cover from the scorching sun under the roof of an abandoned sales stand. On her way there, we look at the boy she just interacted with. After their exchange, he starts running away with explosive force. As Lisa is setting down the bag on the counter of the empty stand, the camera takes a brief look at her, smiling, with 0% suspicion, as she sees the boy run past the decorative fountain. We see a tiny bumblebee with a turban jump off of a pile of oranges. The propulsion of the bee's knees sends the top orange tumbling downhill. It rolls onto the street and under the boy's foot, causing him to sprain his ankle and fall. The now airborne orange shoots back and upwards and ricochets off the face of a really big poodle, which makes the animal topple over really fast. The momentum of this move sends the dog's prosthetic ears flying over the nearby fountain, hitting two locals in the back of the head who have been busy brushing their teeth by the gross river, causing them to turn around and blankly stare at a pacing curvaceous belly dancer in see-through clothes. She is used to men staring at her, but not with an empty gaze and copious amounts of white foam running down their chins. This of course startles her to a sudden shrieking jump, which makes her huge breasts billow towards her chin with such force that the orange falling from above gets perfectly caught in her cleavage. As the dream camera followed that spectacle, it ended up pointing at the Simpsons again. It zooms in on Lisa's eyes and then changes back to her point of view. In an upbeat explanatory voice, she begins to narrate something akin to an unboxing video of her newly acquired linen bag. She pulls out a digital camera, of all things, presses a button on it, and the video starts playing on its display. The dream camera zooms in on it until the video takes full screen position. The uh, Digicam's display shows Lisa's POV just like we had it until right now, with her yellow little hands manipulating the same gray device whose display we are seeing this on. Is this dream logic? Or a copied file? She's thoroughly showing the camera from all angles, while her fingers point at certain buttons. A Lisa voiceover explains the various functions they stand for and gives a personal review. As she starts the video off with typical stuff like, "This is the new Samsung Hanya Valehanya Midinya GX5 Type 3." My narrator self, in essence me, a watcher of this clusterfuck, starts cracking up immediately, and in my dream I can basically hear myself laughing gaspingly at this unusual name for a digital camera. As if that wasn't enough, the video shows a hammer swinging down from the top of the screen with considerable force, decorating the device in the little girl's hands with deep, web-like cracks. The most amazing part about it is that Lisa and her hands have absolutely no reaction to that. She doesn't go off script or even so much as flinch. She's absolutely unfazed. At the third strike of the hammer, my laughter spirals out of control. At this point, it is nearly enough to wake me up. I'm really feeling myself during this. As my watcher self calms down a bit, he reverts his eyes back to the screen just in time to see her pull out the second camera out of the bag. It's a tiny shiny black one, and do I need to say it? It gets the exact same treatment. The only difference being that this model is the Sony G6 Vai Valhambra. I I go through several stages of painful laughter, wishing for it to end, praying to Thor to stop the hammer from entering the frame, but my prayers go unheard by the mighty Donar. As I see tiny pieces being surgically removed at terminal velocity, Lisa puts her four yellow fingers into the same bag once again. And as she pulls out something she calls a recording tablet, I absolutely lose my shit. I feel my I feel my ad- I absolutely lose my shit. I feel my abdominal muscles tickle right behind my nostrils. I ran out of air to laugh with, and even before she mentions the name of this little gadget, I wake up.